reach us. We have to reach out for the ability to raise our vibration in order to be able to receive that. Ironically, raising the vibration is a big part of the out-of-body experience. You will actually go through what I call vibrational raisings for many, many years, and then the vibrational raisings will also transmute into different types of experiences and ways of operation. But the reason you have to go through these vibrational raisings is because every time you're transcending to a higher world or a higher realm, you have to have your vibration at the level that makes you compatible. If you try to go into a realm that is too high for the actual vibrational level of the particles of your soul, you will feel like you're being crushed. It's very, very profound experience. They allowed me to experience it on a couple of occasions so I could understand why the vibrational raising was absolutely essential, because we can't actually travel higher unless we are actually engaging in raising that vibrational level. But going back to these particular races, that is part of the key of being able to receive from these particular societies who have only the best interests for the evolution of the human soul. They have nothing to gain from helping us. They just do it as a noble deed.
Well, Marilynn, I got to ask.
So
I got to ask you a question here that
Sure.
I'm confused. Okay, when you kind of went into his place and you got to see what his world was like, what comment did he have to you when he shared your body? I mean, thoughts and surroundings.
Basically, the comment, there weren't. You have to remember, they don't really communicate in the way that we do. They're much more telepathic, so it's much more of an energetic exchange, because these are very highly evolved ones. But basically, to be blunt, it was very uncomfortable for him, and he let me know, because I was basically begging, please let me just go to your world and stay there. And he was letting me know that I was not ready, and that I was, it was almost kind of like funny that I would ask, because I still had such a long way to go before I could even consider anything close to that. So he was trying to be kind, but at the same time let me know that it was a ridiculous proposition, because I had to earn my right to live in such a place. And that's part of what our spiritual journey really is. And in the out-of-body experience, I write a lot about this in The Mysteries of the Redemption, which is, that's available at the website outofbodytravel.org. But there's a process that we're going through as we're doing these out-of-body experiences. It's not just for the sake of, wow, this is cool. It's for the sake of purification. We live in what's called the third and fourth realm here on Earth. And this isn't the only place that is a third and fourth realm world. We are one of many, but this is a third and fourth realm world, which means that this is one of those worlds where the battles between good and evil take place. So that makes it similar to like a purgatorial type world. So what you have is that we incarnate here for the purpose of uncovering our karmic influences, uncovering our vices and the things which are holding us back from the light. And so in essence, we're looking for what are the dark spots within our souls that are holding us back from going higher. And so in a mortal world, we have to focus on the purification of the darkness within ourselves and on the darkness around us in the world around us. We have both of those things to deal with when we are incarnate in a world like this. And so we're trying to move from this energy. Now, when you are in the third and fourth realm, what you have is the realms below us are the realms of ever-increasing darkness, and the realms above us are ever-increasing light. And we're here right in the, in the middle world where there's both. There's elements of good and evil here. And in order for us to really start soaring and move into the fifth realms and above, we have to purify. And in order for me to ever be able to go to that planet, that beautiful place, that world, I would have to progress quite a bit before I could be, worthy to receive such a gift. I was very honored and lucky to even just be made aware of its existence. And I think somewhat, to some degree, it's important for people to know that these higher places exist, but we have to reach for them in order to eventually be able to attain to them. If we don't realize that they are out there, if we don't realize that there is more to achieve and more to ascend towards, we have a tendency to stand still. And this is a very common hindrance in the mortal world here and in mortal realms, where people will stand still because they're not realizing that there is something to be achieved while we're here. And if we achieve those things, there are wonderful, wonderful, beautiful transitions into lighter and finer frequencies of light. But we do earn them. We have to earn them, and we go through processes to be made ready. We have to become compatible to, so to speak. One of the things that's very important to understand about the out-of-body experiences and the spiritual world, and this also applies very much to the afterlife, which is compatibility. We go where we're compatible. So when we cross over, we're going to naturally resonate above, middle, or even go down a little bit, depending on where our loves are. And our loves can be for the higher, finer things or for lower things. And the ironic thing is, in the out-of-body experience, you will find that the things that hold us back actually put weight upon our soul, which means that, so when you're actually out of body and you're floating, if you have like a hindrance, you're going to start going down. But as you're throwing off hindrances, you all of a sudden become lighter and you start rising higher and higher. And so there's a lot of relevance here with compatibility, but also the weight of the soul. So we want to remove things that are holding us down and the things that are hindering us from rising to higher, finer frequencies, which, hopefully at some point will lead us to being able to be part of some of these beautiful higher frequency worlds that we may not yet be compatible to.
But how many people out there actually have out-of-body experiences? Or do they have it without realizing it?
Most people do have them when they're sleeping at night. There are different levels of consciousness involved. So some people will have, most people are unconscious or subconscious, which means they won't remember what's happening. That does not mean, however, that the angelic realm is not working on them in their sleep or things like that. There are also darker forces that work as well, and that's, getting into the battles between the principalities and the powers, which is something, a whole other subject there. But we are always being assisted, especially as we ask for it and seek it, whether we're aware of it or not. But there are some people who are more aware of aspects of it. They might have an experience here or there that they remember, or they may have an experience that they remember in part, like through a lucid dream. When you have an actual fully conscious out-of-body experience, it's not going to be one of those things where you're like, did I or didn't I? It's going to be so powerful that you have no question. And the reason for that is because when you go into the vibrational state, that is so intensely powerful, you cannot deny it. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to hear what are I call the thoughts of humanity, you're going to start hearing the voices, and you're going to start hearing what sounds a lot like jet engine noises. That's the different sounds of the astral plane and other planes that you might be going to travel. When you actually separate from your physical body fully consciously, it is such a powerfully mind-altering experience. You will have no question that you actually had a fully conscious out-of-body experience. A lot of people misunderstand that. You can have different levels where you can have portions of memory, but they're not fully conscious. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but it isn't the same as a fully conscious. And when you have it fully consciously, you're not going to have any doubt what that was. The power of it, the vibrations, the frequencies that you're touching into sound-wise, vibration-wise, it's all going to be so overwhelmingly present. It's an undeniable experience.
It sounds interesting. One of my guests I had on, months ago, he wrote a book on, too, again, about time travel, out-of-body experiences. When he was about 13 years old, he had his first out-of-body experience. And what he saw when he was 13, he saw that, one, he was going to be a professor. This is to somebody that was going to school. It wasn't doing very good at school at 13 and 14. and he actually had his out-of-body experience. He fell out of a tree, matter of fact. And while he was unconscious, he had his out-of-body experience. And he saw his life, going forward, at a certain age, he was going to become a professor. At a certain age, he saw himself traveling like to Japan and all this stuff. And you know what? When he got 30-some years old, it all started happening. And he remembered his dream or out-of-body experience. Have you ran across people like that?
Oh, that's not uncommon at all. I've heard that in a lot of cases of people who have been given that kind of information. There's a lot of people in my field, other colleagues and writers who have had that. When I had my experience at the age of 9, I was shown that I was going to have some type of calling with this that would come upon me later in life, and it did, And I've just heard from many, many people, because I get a lot of emails and stuff, people have this type of experience pretty commonly. Even if it's not fully like a totally out-of-body experience, people will have it in some kind of really mind-blowing dream when they're younger, and it kind of sets the stage and helps them to remember the destination of their life. And, we spoke earlier about the program. The program being what we came here to do. Why did we incarnate again? What are we here to do? And so part of the purpose of those experiences is to help the soul to be focused forward towards the purpose of the incarnation, that they will hopefully reach towards the purpose of why they came back. A lot of times, a lot of people, when they come back into another lifetime, they can get lost. We can get diverted, we can get unfocused, distracted, and all sorts of things. And so, ironically, one of the things that people who have out-of-body experiences will definitely feel is a guiding hand to keep them on that path towards that purpose that they set out to accomplish originally.
What do you see with the higher plane of these two races of aliens? Did they give you any clues what's going to happen on our planet if we don't evolve?
I think that we have a few different possible outcomes, and this is what I've, and it's kind of, it's a little bit sad, but, the original intention was for them to help us to transition to a higher spiritual energy and move the Earth into, like, the galactic council of planets and galaxies and stuff. And that has been a little bit diverted. So what we have is several potential outcomes. One is the planet can go towards